Hey everybody, my name is Jacqueline McElroy. Welcome to our channel if you're new here, and if you're not new here, welcome back. This is a little different style of a video. We typically do vlogs every weekend, but this time I wanted to get on here to share our personal experience through pregnancy. So the reason why I want to get on here and share this experience is because I know when I was going through it, I was wanting to look up different videos of other people's experience and questions that they had and answers that they received, because we can admit that it's a scary time. It's exciting, but it's scary because we're stepping into something that's the unknown. So to start off, I want to give a little backstory. We got married January 13th of 2021, but we had a wedding, like an actual ceremony, on September 10th of that same year, which we did that because we wanted to be with family, and we came back to Ohio, and at that time we were in Montana. Well, when it was the week of the wedding, I was on my period, so no baby. The next week, well, I wasn't pregnant, but I would have been considered pregnant. That was like the conception date. And honestly, I made a deal, not a deal with Deshaun, but we were like, it was a deal. I was just like, okay, if we wait, because okay, I get it, waiting. Let's do March. I think I put like 13th or something like that. Whatever date I put in March for the following year. And I said, let's put in our calendar, and I put it's time to make a baby or something like that. And yeah, that was supposed to be for March. Well, it was unexpected, and we ended up finding out we were pregnant like a month later. And I remember whenever I took the test, because for some reason we both felt off, like, why do I feel like this is the time, like we could actually be pregnant? And then whenever I missed my period, well, that was a big sign. Whenever I took the test, because I casually was taking it, I was like, there might be a chance that I'll show up pregnant. And then I was like, but nah, it didn't show up pregnant any other time, so we should be good. And I was on my way, I was about to leave for work. This is when I was in the military. And I remember taking the test and waiting. And I looked at it, or we looked at it at the same time, I believe. And it said pregnant. And I said, we just looked at each other. We didn't even have like that that reaction of how people are like, oh my gosh, and they give a hug. We literally just looked at each other and we're like, no way. And so we're like, should we hug? Do we hug? And so we gave each other a hug, but not that we weren't excited in a sense. It was just shocking because we knew that things were going to change. We knew that we were in Montana and that there was a big chance that I was getting out. Actually, we knew I was getting medically discharged at that time. So we knew all this transition was about to take place, and boom, something big. Well, I have to say, for my pregnancy journey, I was fortunate enough to have a pretty easygoing one. I experienced nausea at the beginning for, say, the first few weeks, and it was bad. And I'm sure anybody else who's been pregnant before can say the same thing, that nausea sucks because you feel like nothing can take it away. You feel like if you get up or if you move slightly, you just feel like crap. And so I was scared that I was going to experience that like the whole entire pregnancy, because I've heard of other women who have gone through like their first and second trimester with experiencing nausea. I stopped after a couple weeks. I was like, okay, this seems a little too good to be true, but I just took it with that. There was no complications, fortunately. I would say that I did experience like aches and pains, but that's pretty normal. That's something that you'll get because your body is constantly changing as your baby is growing and developing. So I could say the pain for that was very uncomfortable, but that didn't start happening until around my second trimester. And I will have to say, you will probably feel like this. It depends. Some women take a little bit of time to be able to develop a bump, and I could say it was discouraging because that was my case. I was like 20-something weeks pregnant, and I'm like, I don't even look pregnant. Where's my bump? I want to show for what I'm feeling, show for what I'm going through, but it just wasn't happening. And everybody's like, don't rush it because you're gonna be wanting, how your stomach was before. But I will have to say, so I got out of the military due to back problems. I have to say that pregnancy was like a band-aid for it. For some reason you think it would be the opposite, but I experienced less back pain during my pregnancy. Yeah, so maybe if you have something that you're going through or something like that, pregnancy might be a band-aid for that. And I feel like I've heard that. I don't know if it's an old wives' tale or not. At that time, we didn't tell family at the beginning. We waited for the first like 2 to 3 months. We waited until we came back to Ohio, until we moved back, which was in December, and we found out we were pregnant in September. Family didn't know at all. We had an ultrasound, everything. When they would call to check in, even if I was feeling sick or something, I would have to mask it. We didn't say anything is because we wanted to make sure that everything was good and there wasn't any possible complications that arise. Plus, we wanted to tell them in person if we knew we were going to see them. My dad flew out to help drive us back because we had to take both cars that we had and drive all the way across the country. It was like a 27-hour drive. My dad didn't know at all while he was there and while we were driving. I was just keeping it to myself, or we were keeping it to ourselves just because we wanted to tell everybody together. We ended up coming home. We were gonna wait till Christmas, but because his side of the family, they go on vacation every summer, and they were already planning it, and they were playing around his due date. Like, yeah, we can't do that. And so we ended up having to tell why we couldn't do that, and then that led us telling everybody. And then I didn't get into an OB, so I had one ultrasound, and that was at 10 weeks. I got that because I wanted to just make sure that everything was fine, just for comfort, because I didn't know when I would be able to get into an OB coming back home. And it took I swear it took like a month, didn't it? Like a month and a half, I think. Even then, they were close to not taking me because I was already so far along. I was like 18 weeks. And typically doctors won't take you that far because they don't want to be, I think it's because they don't want to be liable for anything because they haven't been there throughout your entire pregnancy. And so went through the appointments, blah, 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 blah. But overall, the pregnancy journey was great. It had its up and downs. I would recommend joining. Was that a poop? Okay, just poop, y'all. I recommend joining a community, a group that is due the same month as you. Like on Facebook, I joined the June Babies 2023 group. Although you can't take everything that people say on there accurately, but you can take with a grain of salt, knowing that people have similar questions as you that maybe you're afraid of asking, and they asked it for you. Because I'm gonna tell you, people put some TMI stuff on there, and also their experience and what they're going through. It's just, you feel like you're in a community, that you're not alone, and that there's other people who are excited to meet their baby the same month as you are. Overall, it gets you excited, and it did for me. So yeah, that is a quick wrap up of our pregnancy journey, our pregnancy experience, and how it happened, and what my personal experience was during it. But I guess mine just shows that, you know, pregnancy doesn't have to be all that bad, and it's not the horror stories that you may hear of pregnancy and people saying, I hate being pregnant and blah, 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 blah. There will be times where I get tired of the heavy breathing and the rolling on your sides and stuff like that. But really, pregnancy is a beautiful thing, because at the end of the day, you are growing and being basically a source for your baby to grow and develop. With that being said, I want to answer some frequently asked questions that we found on Google, and I will share it with my experience.
How do you know you're pregnant?
I knew I was pregnant when I missed my period. That was the big indicator. Like I said in the story, that we felt like maybe this was like a different time. But that is how I knew. I was like a few days late, so I was like, take a test, and I did. So from my experience, how I knew was missed period. And I think that is like a big thing that we're out of. If all else fails, wait to see if your period comes or not.
When do pregnancy cravings start?
My pregnancy cravings started honestly later, like in the latter side of my pregnancy. I would say around the second trimester. If anything, I wouldn't say I had really crazy cravings. Like, I didn't have pickles and mayonnaise. I didn't have eat sand, whatever people have. And I mean, not knocking the people that have those cravings, but I personally never had those. I had pretty normal ones. A big one was oranges. I would eat like 3 to 4 oranges at a time. And from my experience, our son would like hiccup every time I ate an orange. So if I ever got afraid of lack of movement or something like that, I would just eat an orange because I knew that he would move and react to me eating an orange. Oh, and another craving of mine, it wasn't something to eat, it was just the smell. Basements. I love the smell of our basement. I would just walk down there and just, I don't know what it was about it. It just was a comforting smell that I just wanted more of. So that is my weird craving that I had.
How much weight should I gain in pregnancy?
I weighed about 135 prior to pregnancy. Well, when I had my second appointment, I believe, with my doctor, I weighed 150. So that was about close to 20. And she was telling me that I shouldn't be at that weight because the baby is super tiny. And so that was basically my weight. Meanwhile, I couldn't see where the weight had gone, to truth be told. I was just straight bumped. Like, people told me if I was turned around or to the side, they wouldn't be able to tell I was pregnant unless I turned to face them. And so when I weighed 150, I was just confused on where it went. So I would say 20 pounds is really like the limit. I think doctors, at least my doctor, wanted me to be at. And I don't know if that included baby's weight or just my weight. I couldn't remember. But after that, when I started gaining weight, it was because of his weight. So,
what prenatal vitamins should I take?
Well, I'll first start off with take your prenatal vitamins. I was not the best at taking them. I would forget and whatnot. And so I would go through periods of time where I took it like routinely, and then I went a couple months or something like that. Which meanwhile, I have to take it today, which I've been on a roll with it since I left the hospital. But I was prescribed prenatals from the VA, and they're just pill form. I wanted to be different and get gummies, so I got gummies from Target. And I did not really finish those because they were citrus, and for some reason they just weren't hidden. Like, you know how some gummies are good? Well, those weren't that good. So I went back to the pill form and I took the pills.
How should I sleep in pregnancy?
So I'm a side sleeper, but I like to be on my back too. But I wasn't able to do that, especially the further I got along. Further I was along. So I would say side's the best. I know they say sleep on your left side, but I think I found more comfort on my right. And so I would just toss and turn. I would switch because there got to a point in time where I was just very uncomfortable on either side. My hips would hurt, my pelvis would hurt, just everything in my lower half would hurt. So I would just turn. But don't sleep on your back because it does take away the shortness of breath, like you being able to breathe, because I believe you're suppressing a artery or something there that's stopping you from being able to breathe correctly.
What happens in birth class and should I go?
So we were offered a free birth class through the VA. As you can tell, the VA has been very supportive and has provided for us in different ways. But they offered a free class. We had to go up to Cleveland for that, and it was about 6 hours long. So it was long. It was from like 10 a.m. to 4, but they ended up going over to close to 5. First off, pack a lunch, because I don't know why I thought they were gonna have lunch for us, so I didn't pack us a lunch. So we were basically struggling the whole class. But they did provide good information. It's definitely long and stuff that you can look up, but maybe you won't think to look up everything that was given or presented there. I know that some physical therapists came to talk to us and tell us about Kegel exercises, different pelvic floor things that you could try, and ways to prepare for labor and to make it an easier process. And that if you need access to a pelvic floor therapist to make sure you do, get a hold of somebody or get a hold of one. I went to a pelvic floor therapist just for different reasons, because my back, and I have pelvic floor issues too, but it was to help with my pregnancy. So I will be going back afterwards. I know that's a little sidetrack, but I will be going back after my 6 weeks of postpartum. And anyways, so we talked about that, and then they gave us like different breathing techniques, and honestly, I ain't using breathing techniques during labor, but I'm sure they work good if you actually use them. They just gave lots of information. We did get to watch a mannequin give birth, and was explained how it goes. It was pretty neat to be able to see, like, oh wow, the technology is really that far, where like even the mannequin mom was like, the baby's coming, and I need a push. Like, it was like a reality. It was not reality, what would you call it? It was like
a real life experience.
Yeah, like a real life experience, like you were watching it. So yeah, for a birthing class, do I recommend you going? First time moms, yes, because it does provide a lot of information. I'm not sure if all birth classes are that long, but it's one day, and you may take some things that you learned and put it in your back pocket, or you may have some things that go out one ear and through the other. I think it made me feel a little more comforting because there was other moms in there that were going through the same thing, which is being pregnant and also seeking out this information. And also I learned some things that kind of eased my mind for different questions that I may have had. So yeah.
How do I stay fit in pregnancy?
So actually, I would do workout videos from this lady. Well, her YouTube channel is Pregnancy and Postpartum TV. She has workout videos for pregnancy, postpartum, postnatal, all different types of workouts, whether it's from HIIT to cardio to weightlifting to stretching to yoga, all that. She provides all these different workouts that could benefit you in some way, whatever you're looking for. So I did that for a while. I would do a lot of yoga and stretching just because I would be hurting, and to kind of help with my back and stuff. But I did do the workout for some time too. I will tell you that, whether you worked out before or not, it does get a little harder. It is harder to work out while you're pregnant because you're more out of breath. But I definitely recommend her channel. She has tons of information on there. I know she has other videos on there that isn't just workouts, that she explains like how your abs can separate or do separate after birth. She talks about labor and delivery techniques and different positions and stuff like that. So check her channel out. Shout out to you. So thank you for helping me with my workout journey.
And then final question, was it worth it?
Yes, it was worth it. As long as the 9 months may feel, as painful as they may feel, as annoying as it may feel, as just everything in between and different things you have to go through, whether it's the OB appointments, whether it's just the constant questions you have running across your mind, and just the scariness of the unknown. It is worth it in the end. And even with labor, it is worth it in the end. I was scared as heck. I ain't gonna cap to you. I was scared. I was nervous. And Deshaun would be like, I'd be scared too if I was you, because you really don't know how it's gonna feel. And I didn't. But overall, honestly, I don't forget my experience, but it felt like it was a long time ago. I feel pretty good postpartum. Thankfully, again, I had a smooth labor, which we can get into that in a different video. But I forget about it, and it's a new season, and we met our son, and I couldn't be more grateful for the experience and being able to meet him. Honestly, there's times where I'll just stare at him and I'll just cry because I'm just grateful and blessed and to know like that he was inside of me through those 9 months of, and just constantly wondering what would he look like, who is he basically, and to meet him and to see him, it just confirms that. But with that being said, I hope that you were able to take something from this video. I hope that I was able to answer some questions from you through my experience, and that you may feel some type of comfort in whatever stage of pregnancy that you're in. I do want to tell you that it gets better, that it does end, and that after that you are bouncing back and you are about good as new as you were before pregnancy. I mean, you have some minor recovery or maybe major recovery, but at the end of the day, I promise you it is worth it. The whole 9 yards. Get it? Because it's 9 months, so 9 yards. The whole 9 months is worth it. And so, thank you for sticking around this long. If you did, be sure to like and to follow me on Instagram at jacqueline.janelle. And to also subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would be awesome. We're almost at 100 subscribers, and just to think that we started this channel just to make, for memory's sake, and to be able to hold on to different moments and experiences that we were able to experience together while we were long distance and now as a family. But yep, so I hope that we'll be able to see you again. And if you're interested in my labor story, I'm gonna say it, Deshaun hates it. Stay tuned for the next one.